So in terms of delivering your brand, so you've established your brand, you've established your client value propositions. There's all the traditional ways of getting that message out to market, advertising and developing a sales force and direct marketing. The ones at the top are the ones really geared towards the entrepreneur who doesn't have an awful lot of revenue or money. To me, these are the ones that kind of have the biggest return for the least amount of spend. And the number one there is web. Web has, as I said, over the last 20 years, totally transformed the business model. You can get a very quick message out, you can change your message, you can vary it, you can make it bespoke depending on what country or what niche market you're chasing. And again, it's all about branding and selling. Ultimately, marketing is there to help sales. That's my number one customer, is our internal sales team. I need to generate leads for them, I need to generate brand awareness, and I need to help them sell through the communication and collateral that I develop and talk about. So I'm not going to give a talk today about the web because you guys know a lot more about the web than me. But what I'm really saying to entrepreneurs and business startups is you have to embrace the web. In terms of the site itself, I mean, sites, I've been through it, I've seen the very first websites and how they developed, and really it was an online brochure. There was, some nice pictures and some collateral, and it always started off as you had 300 or 400 pages because you had to sort of generate material. That's what everybody needed or thought they needed. But over the course of the last kind of 10 years, people have really understood it's not about quantity, it's about quality, and it's about messaging, it's about focusing the efforts and complementing your offline marketing strategy as well. So the good websites now very much work hand in hand. They're not a replacement for existing marketing collateral, they work very much in hand with it. So in terms of the brand, in terms of how you generate leads through the website, in terms of educating customers, in terms of getting customer feedback, those are the kind of areas in my mind are the main sort of functions of a good web strategy. The stickiness of the site is extremely important, and there's all sorts of great tools out there, Google Analytics being one. That's something I look at every month in terms of analysing our existing website and seeing what people are downloading. If we put a white paper up onto the website, how many people downloaded it, how many leads did we get as a result of it, did it work relative to another white paper or relative to a webinar that we ran. So it's extremely important in terms of performance measurement and metrics that you are looking at the kind of Google Analytics and you are seeing how sticky the site is. It's not the volume of traffic that visit, it's for people that come back again and again, and they only come back if there's something new on the website. We talked about the metrics, so number of visitors, pages viewed, files downloaded, and where the customers are coming from as well. Search engine optimization is so important these days. People don't have the time or the patience to start going through pages and pages of Google searches. They want to hit the top 3 or 4, and that's usually enough for them. So optimizing your website is extremely important. Social media, again, there's a lecture, possibly a series of lectures on social media, and I'm not going to cover that, I'm going to briefly just mention it. What I'm saying is, no matter what your social media strategy is, it really is there to optimize Google search engine optimization. Current company I'm working with, as I said, is a software company, and we use LinkedIn, we use Twitter, and we use blogs. We're dependent on them for a source of traffic. Twitter is fantastic at getting news out into the market fairly quickly. It's an informal way of doing things. I find it incredibly useful, but I haven't seen any measured return on it as yet. We haven't got a single bit of business as a result of Twitter. It helps support marketing efforts, but it's not there as a standalone of its own. So I think these all couple together, and they're an important element of it, but as yet the jury's still out in terms of the return on investment. A good sort of reference to that is a friend of a friend runs a wine tasting website. She spends an enormous amount of her time responding to tweets and responding to blogs. She gets very little business out of that. So what she started off as being half an hour per day, now turned into an hour, a couple of hours per day for very little return. So it positions her brand well, but it doesn't actually help her sell anything. So it's important to remember it's easy to create these things, but to sustain them and do them properly, you have to maintain and support them. So it's incredibly important you kind of bear that in mind. In terms of channels, again, I'm not going to dwell too much on that. There are variations of channels, and businesses all have challenges in terms of what are the best channels to maximise return. The direct channel, I've worked across a number of these different areas. So with a direct sales team, the advantages there is that their employees, they know the product or service incredibly well. But on the downside, they're very expensive to maintain. Not only do you have salaries and commissions and bonuses, but you have to maintain them in terms of keeping them out on the road, paying for the travel, the hotel. It's incredibly expensive to maintain a direct sales force. Another option is third party, so distributors or value-added resellers. Again, these work particularly well, but you've got the element of control, of a lack of control with these guys. You're not with them all the time. They also potentially are representing other products or services, sometimes for competitors or sometimes non-competitors, but impacting your business. Then working with partners. So again, in terms of highlighting your brand, if you can associate your brand with a partner brand that helps bring your brand up, a great way of doing it. And then the newer channels in these days are sort of web and mobile and how that's impacting on businesses. Look at financial services now, from 20 years ago to where they are today. I can't remember the last time I was in a bank branch. And before that, I always had to go to a branch to cash a check or get money out or make a deposit. I rarely do that now. It's all online, so it's completely changed me, and it's also now on my mobile. So it's got to the stage where I don't even have to go online. I can just stand at the bus stop. It's a real game changer.